Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 3 from Marvel Comics. So I did a video for issue number 2, which also covered issue number 1. But for anyone who hasn't watched that, and for anyone who hasn't kept up with the series, the basic gist of this is, what if Spider-Man had never been bitten by the radioactive spider? So Peter Parker ends up growing into an adult. I think he's like in his 30s when this series takes place. He is married to Mary Jane. They have 2 kids, Richard, a son, and Mayday, a daughter. And Peter is just a regular dude who works as a photographer. And Uncle Ben's alive. Aunt May has just recently died. Uncle Ben and Jameson are best friends who work together. And yeah, life is just normal. But Peter always feels like something is missing. One day, he gets approached by Iron Man, who tells him that the timeline has been messed up, that you should have been bitten by a spider long ago and become a superhero. And now there's a great threat out there, and we need Spider-Man. We need all the superheroes we can get. Here's the spider that should have been you. Take it if you want and become Spider-Man. So Peter kind of decides on if he wants to do this or not. Eventually he decides to become Spider-Man. And there you go. That's basically the gist of what's been going on so far. And in the last issue, his daughter, Mayday, finds out that he's Spider-Man. She walks in on him after he comes home late one night. And she gets freaked out at first because his costume is just like all black and it looks kind of scary. But eventually he tells her, like, hey, it's just me. And we start off this issue with Mary Jane and Richard believing that Peter and Mayday are hiding something, which of course they are. But the father-daughter duo refuse to tell what it is because it's a secret. So Mary Jane takes Richard to go out and buy some new shoes. And we had this adorable moment where as soon as they leave, Peter's like, so do you wanna? And Mayday's like, yes. And then we cut to Mayday watching as Peter tries out a bunch of different Spider-Man costumes. Because as I said before, the one that he was wearing before is super scary. Like it freaks her out. And so Peter's like, well, I want to be a hero. I want to be someone that my kids can look up to. And I can't do that if my daughter's scared of me wearing the costume. So I got to come up with a costume that she's not scared of. And so he tries out different costumes, like different designs, because his suit is not a regular clothing suit. Instead, it's almost kind of like the symbiote. So he can just kind of like morph it into different designs. And all the designs are like Easter eggs. They're all like costumes that we've seen in past issues of Spider-Man, different versions of him. And eventually, they settle on the red and blue. I also like this idea that the symbol that he has on his chest is based off of a drawing that she drew. Like after she found out that he was Spider-Man, she drew like a little spider for him. And that's the symbol that he now has on his chest. And then we just have another adorable moment where he kind of webs her to his back and then he goes swinging with her. So it's like, all right, this is awesome. Like I love seeing Peter Parker not as like a loser that we see him in the 616 now. Like where he's just being cucked by a freaking, what was his name, Paul or whatever. Now we get a guy who's like a great husband, a great father. Here's him spending time with his daughter. They're having fun. And it's just nice to see like a good role model for a father in the Western media. Because whether it's movies, comics, TV shows, dads are always portrayed as terrible. Either they're not there, or they are, but they're like abusive, or they're just stupid. And yeah, it's always the mom that's like the great parent. The dad's just a piece of crap. But it's great to see that, no, Peter is actually a really good dad. And yeah, he takes her swinging. And then we get some moments with Jameson and Uncle Ben. They used to work for the Bugle, but they ended up quitting because Kingpin took over. Kingpin bought the Bugle, and Jameson doesn't trust him, so he quits. And since Uncle Ben is like his best friend, he quits with him, and they decide to create their own business together, like their own news corporation. So they buy this like Fix Me Up. And we just have them talking about this new player in the game that the media is dubbing Green Goblin. And Green Goblin is targeting places that Kingpin owns. So he has some kind of beef with Kingpin. So Peter's like wondering, like, so is this guy a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Like, is this a good guy versus bad guy thing? And Uncle Ben's like, you know what? It could just be a bad guy versus bad guy. That's how the real world is sometimes. And so Peter decides to stake out the place. So he's going to go to a place that Kingpin kind of runs and see if he can find this Green Goblin and see what he's up to. And so we just have like a funny moment where he's like just chilling out for like 2 days. And eventually he comes across a fight between Green Goblin and Bullseye. And I'm not going to spoil anything else too much of there. We get a fight between Green Goblin and Bullseye. Peter gets involved. Peter still has his comedic, sarcastic jokes that he tells. Only here, it's more kind of like dad jokes and not so much self-deprecating jokes, which is nice. It's nice to see a Peter that's not constantly like bad-mouthing himself. Like, this is a guy who actually has like confidence in himself. And I like the fact that he's trying to like, he's never been a hero before in this timeline. In this timeline, he's always been a dad, and he's only recently put on the suit and gotten powers. So he doesn't really know what to be, like what to do as a hero. So he's like getting things from TV. He's using his role as a dad as a hero. So like he'll try to like talk down. Well, I don't want to say talk down, but he'll try to talk to the villains, kind of like if his kids are misbehaving, like the way he would talk to them. So he's trying to incorporate that in, and it's not really working because your kids are a lot different than grown villains. But I kind of like that aspect of him. And yeah, we have like an interesting moment between him and Green Goblin, which I won't spoil, but it goes in a direction I was not expecting it to go. I was thinking it was going to go a completely different direction. So I'm really interested to see how that turns out. But yeah, I'm not going to discuss anything more because I think you should read this for yourself. This is a really good series so far. I've absolutely loved it. Artwork is fantastic. I love the writing. I love this Peter. Like, this is the Peter that I always wanted for the 616. I absolutely despise One More Day. I feel like that completely ruined the character. I hated everything else they've done with him afterwards. Like giving up his body to Doc Ock. This whole thing with I don't even Paul, whatever the hell his name is, like that whole thing is stupid. Like the Peter now is just a complete joke. This is the Peter that I always wanted. Where we just have him, he's happily married to Mary Jane. They have 2 kids who adore them. They are like a great family. Peter is, he's an awesome dad, awesome husband. He's trying to incorporate what he's learned as a dad when it comes to dealing with villains. And it's just kind of funny to see a Peter who is a grown man struggling to become a hero because he's never done this before. Like, that's just an interesting take on it. But I like this. This has been an awesome series. And I kind of wish that 616 Peter was more like this. Just obviously with more experience as a hero. But I wish he was still married to Mary Jane. I wish they had kids. I wish like we got to see like a father Spider-Man. Like, how would Spider-Man be like as a family guy? Well, this is that. This answers that question, and it's awesome and entertaining. And yeah, I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but this is great. I highly recommend checking it out. It's an amazing series so far. 3 awesome issues, and for someone who like got driven away from the big 2, I'll pick up the occasional like issue here or there. Mostly like Ghost Rider stuff. Ghost Rider has been pretty good, minus the last one that came out, where the Hood became the new Ghost Rider. That was kind of lame. But as someone who kind of got driven away from the big 2, and as someone who got driven away from Spider-Man a long time ago, just because of the way that they treat him, this series has won me over. And I'm hoping that this isn't like a trickaroo, like where they're going to pull out the rug from under me and it's going to go in a completely terrible direction. I'm hoping that's not the case. I don't think it's going to be the case, but we'll see. But so far, it's been awesome. Like, this is amazing. So there you go. There's Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 3. Thumbs up, recommendation. Go check it out. It's an awesome series so far. And it's kind of what I always wanted Spider-Man to be. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again, and I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.